My entitled son spent the family holiday acting like a brat and got us kicked out of the hotel we were staying at, so I threw his suitcase into a lake. My son Andrew is 24 years old and is perhaps the most entitled person I have ever met, and this is in large thanks to his mother. I am to blame for this too. We have coddled him all his life, so much so that at 24 he still doesn't drive, lives with us, doesn't know how to cook or even turn the oven on, and expects to be pampered and treated like the king he is. This means he never expects to help around the house or do anything for himself. Whenever he asks me something, if I say no, he will run to his mommy, who will then overturn my decision and give him the money he asked for. He is a very materialistic person, decked out in designer clothes, new MacBooks and phones, headphones, his nails and makeup are always done, hair is always groomed exactly like he wants it, things like that. His entitlement first started getting out of hand when he entered middle school, where he would often bully kids who were less well off. I tried to reprimand him for this, but his mother stuck up for him. This pattern of behavior continued, with his mother turning a blind eye to anything that he does. His mother and I are extremely well off, and due to this, Andrew used to have an allowance of $1,000 per week, but when he turned 21 he figured this was no longer enough to support his lifestyle, so he came asking for $1,500 per week. Whilst I could afford this, I did not want to do it. Of course, however, his mother got involved and he ended up having his allowance increased to $1,500 a week. This has been seriously getting on my nerves for the last while, as it seems that Andrew will never actually grow up unless he is forced to. I have tried to force him to move out, but he throws a pity party and his mother backs him up every single time. So this year for my birthday my wife and I decided to go to the Bahamas for the first time as a family. Andrew loved this idea at first, but when we got there he instantly became upset. According to him, it was too hot for him to wear his furry designer jackets, and he had to walk around in t-shirts and shorts like the Brokies. He said this on the very first day there, and his mother ran to the closest bougie store she could find to buy him a designer shirt and shorts, as well as flip-flops. The holiday was not off to a good start, and all it took was 3 days out of the scheduled 7 for it to turn to a nightmare. A list of the things Andrew did within the first 3 days includes flipping out and causing a scene at a restaurant when the waiter brought out the wrong food, complaining extensively about the fact there was no good things to do, sleeping in until 3 p.m. every day and then getting mad at us for doing something without him. His mother apologized to him for that, being very rude to hotel staff about not carrying his bags quickly enough. During brunch on day 3, my birthday, he also decided he would rather stay in the hotel room than go to some lousy seafood place for dinner. This hurt me a lot as I really wanted to have a birthday dinner with him and my wife, but his choice I guess. I wasn't gonna drag him out and let him ruin the dinner. Well, in hindsight I definitely should have dragged him out because his actions when alone in the room cost us the entire holiday. My wife and I got ready to go out, and we left him some money to order some food and told him we'd be back in a few hours. We got a call midway through dinner telling us that we are banned from the hotel and the staff have our stuff. We can collect it when we get back. Turns out that Andrew decided that pizza wasn't good enough, and somehow ended up getting his hands on some mushrooms as well as alcohol. Andrew doesn't do substances, so this was the first thing that caught me off guard. I guess he ended up taking too high of a dose or something because apparently he went kinda crazy. He destroyed every bed in the room we were staying in. He broke the mirror, punched a hole in the wall, then ran downstairs only in his undies and began yelling at everyone, before slumping down on a couch and throwing up everywhere. He proceeded to pass out, and the medics had to be called. We were told by the hotel staff we should consider ourselves lucky that no charges have been pressed against Andrew. We ended up collecting our stuff and checking into a motel that night. The next morning Andrew sobered up and had the nerve to act like nothing serious had happened. That he got a little carried away. That's all he said about it, not even a lukewarm apology on his end. The things he was most worried about was the fact that one of his fake nails had come off. He then started complaining about the crappy motel we were in and kept asking when we would get to a hotel. When he said this I completely lost it. I yelled at him, calling him ungrateful, and told him he's a disappointment. His mother tried to step in and defend him, and I lost it on her too, telling her that this is the reason Andrew is such a man-child who would be so lost in the real world. Maybe this is where I took things too far, but I proceeded to take his suitcase from underneath his bed and went outside with it. Andrew followed me out asking him what I'm doing, but I didn't answer. The motel we were at was beside a lake and I proceeded to walk to it. I watched him scream and cry as I approached the lake and it was clear he understood my intentions. Without a second thought I tossed it as far as I could. This suitcase contained all his MacBooks, all his designer clothes, his makeup and nail sets, his skin care, all the materialistic things he holds extremely valuable. Andrew had a meltdown, jumping into the water only to realize he couldn't swim. He was forced to go back, and we had a huge argument about it. His mother was on his side as expected, and Andrew spent the entire argument incoherently putting sentences together as he was crying. The conversation got us nowhere. No amount of me explaining why I did what I did got through to them. I booked a flight home that day by myself and let them stay in the Bahamas as that's what they wanted to do. I'm currently at the airport.